Aloha, folks, and welcome to this latest edition of Five Questions, which is heard right here on KHVH Radio. You can also find Five Questions on HawaiiReporter.com and our website, KHVHradio.com. It's a delight to reconnect with a good man. He is Senator Mike Gabbard, well known throughout our community. And, Mike, I want to welcome you to Five Questions. Thanks for being with us.
Aloha, Rick. Thanks for having me.
Well, listen, we'll jump right on in. Very simple, five questions. That's the format. So, Mike, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to start with question number one. You know, at the end of every day, I ask my kids, Zach and Zoe, so what were your highs and lows today, kids? As a variation on this theme, I was going to ask you the same thing. What were your highs and lows, Senator, of the 2011 legislative session?
Well, Rick, as the chair of the Senate Energy and Environment Committee, it was not a banner year. And probably the high was picking up my new 100% electric Nissan Leaf on April 15th.
Good for you. Very nice.
What a gas. Actually, I can't say what a gas anymore.
What a charge.
I'm in heaven, though, just not having to stop by and wait in line at Costco gas station. But just joking. We did move forward, Rick, a couple bills that your listeners might be interested in, which will make it easier for people to put photovoltaic PV systems up on their roof and make other energy efficiency improvements, which is going to save them a ton of money on their electric bills. And one bill, as far as the high points, was the governor actually signed it into law already. It's Act 9, and it clarifies the law by allowing private companies to lease a PV system to homeowners. And so this, companies like Sunrun from the mainland and others, they're going to be able to lease PV systems to people over a 20-year period. And so that's going to make those PV systems affordable. Same thing with another bill was HB 1520, and that directs the Public Utility Commission to investigate on-bill financing, which would allow people to buy a PV system and then be able to pay it off on their electricity bills. And then on the low side, well, I guess I'd have to say the passage of that civil unions bill into law. Rick and many of your listeners know I've been involved with that issue for over 20 years now. And the reality is people in the state, they don't want same-sex marriage, whether you call it same-sex marriage or civil unions or whatever. So I'm especially concerned basically about this stuff being taught into our schools, in our public schools, yeah.
That's a good segue into, actually the second question I had for you, and that as a Democrat now, and have been for how long now in the Democrat Party as a Democrat?
I think 2007, a couple years, yeah.
About 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So based on your legislative opposition to civil unions, how are things with the Democrat Party? Was there blowback, and how are things with you in the party today?
Well, fine, I guess, Rick, from my perspective, at least from my perspective. I know there are folks in the party that don't like my views, especially on social issues, but actually my values, they match up with the Democrats on labor and environment and other issues. And so actually, if you want to know a little secret, many of my fellow Democrats, they agree with me on the social issues as well. So
but
there are a few in there that don't like me and our family, and they're trying to create some problems and always trying to stir up a little controversy at every turn. But all in all, it's good.
Was your membership ever in jeopardy in the party?
Well, yeah, they they tried to kick me out of the party a while back, a couple of years, I guess it's been, and instead of kicking me out, they reprimanded me for my position on civil unions.
We're talking with Senator Mike Gabbard. It's a pleasure. The senator, of course, Mike, having experience at various levels of governance, including the city council here in City and County of Honolulu, which is another transition to our third question for you today, Mike. Your daughter, Tulsi, a member of the Honolulu City Council. What's your take on Tulsi running for Congress? And up until this point, what's been your advice on this? And what do you think your chances are in a run for Congress?
Rick, well, Tulsi's a remarkable woman. And for your listeners who may not know her, as you mentioned, she represents District 6 on the Honolulu City Council. She's also a captain in the Army National Guard and a commander of a military police unit. And as we speak, she's actually in Indonesia right now on a peacekeeping mission. And as many people have told me in the political arena, she has a maturity beyond her years. We're tremendously proud of her, Rick. Happy that she's made the decision to be a candidate for Congress. I think her chances of being elected are excellent. And as far as advice, Rick, Carol and I, we've taught all 5 of our kids about the importance of serving and helping others, and that's where true success and happiness in life can be found. And so what I tell her is follow your heart, continue working hard, and don't forget about mom and dad after they retire.
I know. I keep telling Zach and Zoe, you are Daddy's retirement plan. So
that's right. That's almost verbatim what I say to her.
Let's keep our lives in perspective here.
Right.
So, was there any reaction to Tulsi announcing, or your thoughts of her announcing after being elected to city council after a pretty short amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, there was some. But, as far as on those things or any of the other issues, Tulsi's very independent, and, she's got her own perspective on things that are gleaned from, her experiences, 2 deployments to the Mideast, aide to Senator Akaka. She was, as you know, the youngest legislator ever elected in Hawaii. And so I wouldn't presume to speak for her, Rick, on anything. I'd be in big trouble when she gets back from Indonesia if I try.
Yeah. When does she due back?
She'll be back next week, actually, on the 23rd.
Good for her.
Yeah.
I admire those that dedicate themselves to the public service. And
yeah.
It's indefatigable. How's that for a big word today?
Ooh,
yeah.
I like it.
There we go. We're talking with Senator Mike Gabbard, and 5 questions today on HawaiiReporter.com, KHVHradio.com, and also here on KHVH Radio. So if we can jump to question number 4, Mike, I'd like to ask you, what is your preview for the upcoming 2012 legislative session, and are there issues already percolating that will resonate with our listeners?
Well, Rick, given that the Council of Revenues, they didn't come back with any worse economic forecasts, I'm thinking our economy is going to rebound. I think we should continue holding the line on not increasing the GE tax and also taxing pensions, and hopefully we can continue restoring some of the major cuts that were made in the last several years, especially to health and safety things like vector control and restaurant inspections, ag inspections. And I know many of your listeners, they want us to keep cutting government spending, but we have to be careful what we cut. I, for one, I was totally opposed to that. You probably follow that whole issue with the state trying to buy the slaughterhouse out in my district in Campbell Industrial Park, and it's a waste of taxpayer dollars and to keep bailing out a failing business. But they still managed to get $750,000 in the budget to put a PV system on top of their roof, and so I'm hoping the governor's not going to release those funds.
Of those 2 issues, economically speaking, and that's, again, ironically going to transition into our 5th question, so I'll kind of go there now. Question number 5, and I'm asking you what is your forecast of the economic financial future for the state of Hawaii? If I'm not mistaken, earlier today, I believe Fitch came out with a recommendation lowering our bond status, our bond rating. Moody's has done so already. And it portends some, challenging times for us if our ability to continue public works projects or improvements and things of that nature is going to cost the people of Hawaii even more because of that diminished rating. What overall, you did mention that the economy will come back. What do you cite as being the reasons why our economy will return and be strong yet again?
Well, and Rick, given the impact of the ups and downs, the global economy, it's really tough to make a prediction about the future. But I'm eternally optimistic, to tell you the truth. One thing for sure, Rick, we have got to get off of foreign oil. We are sending $4 to $6 billion every year, and it's to countries who don't like us very much to buy our oil. And to me, it's sheer insanity. And I feel like a key part of our economic recovery is to keep that money home. We have all the natural resources here. Keakua has provided us with unlimited sun, wind, geothermal, wave, ocean thermal energy. It's all here. And I truly believe that Hawaii can become a world leader for renewable energy. And it's an industry that's growing and can help us grow and diversify our economy. And for your listeners, Rick, just to give you an example, real life stuff. I was walking in my district this last campaign season. I saw this guy. He's got a full PV system up on his roof, and asked him what he's paying for his electric bill, and he said, $18 a month. And so we started doing some research, and the average monthly homeowner pays $200 a month. Mm-hmm. And so the problem is many folks out there, because of the upfront cost of the PV system, they just feel like it's out of their range. But that's what we continually are trying to do at the legislature through my committee, and is make it so that we can take care of that upfront cost. So this one guy who lived about 5 houses down from that one guy that's paying $18 a month in Makakila. I said, "What's your bill, guys?" $350 a month. I said, "You see that guy down there? $18 a month he's paying." He said, "Are you kidding me? Where do I sign? How can I do that?" So that kind of thing is just raising awareness and getting the word out that people can actually do this. This is real, and this is you keep that money home instead of sending it out, out of country to buy all those 40 million barrels of oil. It just makes good economic sense, Rick.
There had always been some, I want to say opposition, but to counter that, of saying, well, that's a wonderful idea, but we're years away from that. We need to be practical and look at the immediate. Mm-hmm. And I think the story you just shared with us, anecdotally nonetheless, but it is a story of immediacy.
And, Rick, the fact is there's 267,000 single-family dwelling homes in Hawaii. Only 4,000 have PV systems who are basically paying $18 a month. And I know if I lived in Hana, where they're paying $6 a gallon for gas, or some of these other places, I would be on the phone, on the email saying, okay, how do I do this? How do I get that? You get a 30% federal tax credit, you get a 35% state tax credit. It really whittles that upfront cost down, and then we can get some of these other bills passed in the next 1 or 2 legislative sessions. It's going to really make it reachable for folks.
I think it's interesting, too, you mentioned the Nissan Leaf. And if you went PV and you had all the electricity generated from, sustainable source, you then translate that in your automobile.
Yep.
Estimate what the savings would be to you individually, but then again, what how you're weaning yourself off that traditional power grid. That's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
We rent our home, so we are trying to talk our landlord into putting some PV here. But I checked with the dealer, and they said even with the amount of electricity, since it's being charged on an electric car overnight, is about $2.50, and that gets you 100 miles.
Wow.
So,
that's
do the
pretty
math.
good stuff. Well, as soon as they come out with that electric Lamborghini, I am totally in.
Now, wait a minute, Rick. I think maybe how about a Tesla? They're only 109,000. You get about 250 miles to a charge, and
right.
I can hook you up, right?
I actually saw the Tesla at the car show this past year. That's a good-looking vehicle.
It is a good-looking. Hank Rogers from Blue Planet Foundation, he owns one, and I keep every time I see him, I say, "Hey, you like trade? I give you my Leaf, you give me your Tesla."
Well, the problem is I can only get my left leg into a Tesla. What do I do with the rest of my body? That's the only thing. So, but anyway, you know what? Senator Mike Gabbard joining us for 5 questions. It's always a delight, Mike. Thank you so much for being with us today. And next time you're on the course, please hit them straight, but just don't hit them often.
Okay.
And that's our
Thanks,
advice.
Rick. Good talking to you, Rob.
It's a pleasure as always.
Aloha.
Thank you. Aloha. Bye now.